Elvis Presley Gesellschaft. Finland is here, and also Flaming Star. Where's Paul? We have fans I really love that. We have fans from Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. Please accept that it's not allowed to film and make pictures. I know it will not work, but I have to say that. So please don't film Mrs. Presley. It's not allowed. Please accept it. And now I want to introduce to you our showmaster, Mr. Christopher. And please welcome also on stage Mr. Gerry Schilling. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Priscilla Presley.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I want to have a big hand now for Dennis Jail and Dave. First problem, we ran out of mics. There is no mic on your chair.
I have a mic.
We need another microphone, please, for Mr. Schilling.
It's okay, Gerry.
Give us a second.
You talk too much already. Any pictures? No, I don't think we can take pictures yet.
Okay, nobody backstage. This was planned. Peter.
Thank you.
So we have exactly an hour to talk about. We have questions from the audience. Thank you very much. Thomas has no microphone anymore, but maybe you have a lot more. We have some questions here, so I hope you all enjoy the upcoming hour. And my first question, of course, goes to Priscilla. How did the idea come up that you joined this cruise?
The cruise here, actually the idea came up with Gerry talking to me. Can I just ask not to do any pictures, please, while I'm talking? Please, no filming. Excuse me, over here.
Thank you very much.
No filming,
Over here. Thank you. No photos, please. The light when you shoot the camera, it's very the flash is very distracting. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The idea came up when Gerry came back from a cruise last year, and he did a cruise the year before, and he said it was such a great cruise that would be great if I would accept to go, and what would I think about it? And I've never done anything like this before, and I've always wanted to have more of a connection with the fans in Europe, always. My closest connection was in England when we did a show for Elvis with Tom Jones and a lot of the European artists singing songs with him at Hyde Park, which was a huge success. There was like 20,000 people there. And I thought, wow, I would love to be able to come and talk to fans all over Europe. It was important for Elvis to, at one time when he was alive, obviously, to come here and visit the different countries and perform. So when he mentioned, about going, he said, "Why don't you think about it?" So I did, and I accepted, and I said, "I'd love to do it. I think this is a great opportunity. I'd like to tell you about all the exciting things we're doing, and basically share with you things that haven't even been announced yet." So that's why.
Yes.
And how do you like them so far? What makes it different to the ones in the US or anywhere else?
Well, we really enjoyed the ones in the U.S. as well, but this is a little bit different. We have
a little more free time. As Priscilla said, it gives us an opportunity to meet fans way away from the United States that Elvis really wanted to go to. And that was one of Priscilla's motivations, that, you know, they're always EPE thinking about the future, and it's such a market, the European market, that she really wanted to be able to talk to the fans, talk to the presidents of the fan and club. So it was a great opportunity.
And Mrs. Presley, will this be the start for a closer cooperation with fans in Europe regarding your person and EPE?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Could it be that this is a good start now?
There was a gentleman who was the entertainment organizer for a place called the Eagles Club in Wiesbaden, Germany. And first time of being so far away from friends and family, my grandparents, so I would write letters, and he'd see me there, and then about the second week, he said, or the third week, he said, you know, music was playing in the jukebox, and he said, do you like Elvis Presley? In fact, I think it was one of Elvis' songs. And I said, yes, you know, who doesn't like him? And he said, well, you know, we have gatherings at his place all the time, on the weekends and sometimes during the week. Would you like to go? So I said, I would like to go, but I have to ask my parents. I mean, I was only 14, so I told my parents that over there, which they went, oh my gosh, I'm not going anywhere, you know, with anybody. And of course, my mother at that time said, you're not walking across the street to meet Elvis Presley. This was before we left, because I said, you're not going to believe it, but Elvis Presley's there too. Kiddingly, but she took it very seriously. You're not walking across the street to see him. So, anyway, that's how it started. And my parents came to have dinner that night, and I introduced them to his wife and himself to my parents, and they seemed very nice. And he said, you know, we just hang around and play records, really, and that's how it was. So that's the only way it was. I mean, I think you told me that there was a story that I asked, and that is not true at all. I didn't even know who this person was. He approached me and said that he went, so that's how it went.
And then you
add a little, she talked about her mother back at that time, and I have to say that her parents and Elvis became so close, and there was such a respect over the years. It was really nice to see.
And by the way, my parents are still living. Both my parents are in their 80s and are doing quite well. So I know someone had asked me about them just recently, so thank you.
And then you dated in Germany for about 6 months, I guess?
6 months, yes.
6 months. And then he left, and then you didn't see each other for more than 2 years.
No, we didn't see each other because he obviously was now wrapped up in filming and getting his career back together, and of course I was going to school. And but he called a lot. So my father once made the statement that the telephone bill for 1 month is more than he gets as an income. During the days you had to go through an operator, and sometimes you'd make the call, or he would always call me, I didn't call him. I could never call him, because girls didn't call boys back in those days. But he called, maybe he made the call at 9 in the evening or in the morning, and it would take sometimes 4 hours to get the call to go through. So, but he called a lot, and my dad used to say, what are you talking about? Why do you talk so long? You know, what is there to talk about? But really, Elvis did most of the talking, because I certainly didn't have a lot to share with him, other than my school had a football game, or there was a certain function going on at the Eagles Club. I look back at myself now, and I think, that was my big idea. When I would write a letter to him, well, what do I say? I would start to write, and I'd tear it up, I'd throw it in the trash can, and I'd start to write, Dear Elvis, well, today I got up from school. I got out at recess at 10 o'clock, took a dentist appointment. And I found a couple of those letters recently. It It was so naive and so childish, but I don't know. So, but anyway, he did most of the talking. He would tell me about what he was doing in his movie, what movie he was doing, who the actress was, of which I hated at that moment. Who's Anne Helm? What does she look like? What color hair does she have? You know, do you like her? All the things we go through. Only I had it bigger and I think a little more frightening.
Gerry, when Elvis came back to Graceland after his army service, did he tell you about this girl left behind that was in the news? Did you knew about Priscilla at that time already?
I was aware of her, but we didn't honestly have a conversation. It was so crazy when he came back. All we did was do karate in the living room of Graceland. The first thing, when I went back to the house, when he got back, we always called Graceland the house. First thing he did, I walked in the front door, he did a karate chop on me. And so, but it didn't take long that we all knew there was somebody special in his life, and it really was a change, you know.
I just want to say one thing about karate. Elvis started taking karate in Germany, and he did that all the time. Whenever I would visit, and sometimes I would visit 3 to 4 times a week, and he would be taking his karate lessons. And I'd be sitting in the living room with a couple of people, a couple of the guys, and you'd hear this rumbling and loud noises on the floor, and what is going on up there? I had no idea what karate was. And then he introduced me to his teacher and demonstrated for me. And he loved it and did it every single night and spent 2.5 hours studying with this black belt that he admired so much over there. I forgot his name. Remember his name?
Hank Sklomensky?
Hank Sklomensky, yes.
Yes.
That's right. So
you turned out to be pretty good yourself.
I had to.
You know, she's a black belt.
Oh no, I'm not a black belt. I'm actually a brown belt, but I don't practice anymore. Elvis used to always like to took pride in the fact that I learned karate, and it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done at that time, because back then it was Kong Ree that I took from, and Ed Parker I took from. Yeah. So I studied two types. One is Kung Fu, the other is Taekwondo. And anyway, but that I think Elvis brought karate to the United States because he talked about it. He actually, he always studied, and people didn't know really. I never heard of karate. I asked my parents if they ever knew what karate was. My friends, nothing. No one knew. So I think he brought karate to the States.
One of a lot of things you brought into the United States. We were asked, there was a question from the audience, people want to know, soon after you moved into Graceland and you spent 10 years, around 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite time with Elvis?
Oh my gosh. My favorite times, I would say the holidays were amazing because he loved holidays, we all did, and he would really get into it. Really, it was festive, and he loved giving presents, more so than receiving. He loved to give, which was always the hardest thing in the world, was to try to find him a Christmas present or a birthday present. But he was quite shy when he received them, don't you feel? He did much so.
It was a magical time. And what about the horses?
I was going to get to that one. The other is the horses. The barn that we used to go to. Elvis presented me with a horse, a 4-year-old quarter horse, for Christmas, and I would ride every single day out in the back and around the front, and he would watch me from his office window upstairs. And then he decided that he was going to get a horse too and ride. And that was the beginning of everybody getting a horse. When Elvis did something and liked it, we all had to like it, whether we liked it or not. He loved to share what he enjoyed. So my special time with him, though, was going to the stable, the barn. And we would spend hours and hours there, from about maybe 1 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the morning. Or we'd go to the movie, and maybe he'd leave early and we'd go out to the stables, and he would it was his therapy. He loved brushing the horses and combing them and feeding them and walking them around the back. And that's a lot that people really don't realize, that was his therapy. That was his downtime, his thinking time. That was my time, actually, that I got to spend alone with him talking and just sorting out whether it was a movie that he didn't want to go to and why, and how he really missed acting in a way that he would love to enjoy acting, that it was no fun anymore. So he just brought out his inner feelings. So I think that's probably the most special for me. And I really try to keep that same feeling and that same ritual at Graceland now. I bring in a lot of the horses that we had. In fact, they all have passed away, but now I bring in rescue horses just so that we keep that alive and that legacy and his love alive. So it's been doing very well, and we'll always have that because that is part of Graceland.
Of course, not very surprising, but everybody wants to know, is there a special Elvis song that's your favorite? And did he sing for you privately at home?
First I'll answer the question. I get this all the time. What's my favorite Elvis song? I mean, I Like You, like many of his songs. The songs that really penetrate to me is The Fair is Moving On. Now I know it wasn't the top, the A side, but it was, I love the words to the song, and I kind of relate to it, when he would come in town and have to go, especially when I was younger, when I didn't live out in LA. And he was the first couple of movies, and I'd hear that song, or this was later, and I'd hear that song, and I'd think, gosh, that's how I felt when he would leave. It just, he'd be in town, now it's time to go, the fair moving on, like it's time for another movie. So I connected with that a lot. And I know this one you connect to because I was the one. And Jerry likes this song too because we talk about it. I can relate that very, very well. I was the one. He was the one. I mean, he gave me my first kiss. So there was a lot going on there. And I love Always on My Mind. I like that very, very much too. He gave me a demo of that, and I've always cherished that. I like Suspicious Minds. A lot going on in that song too. So it's hard not to relate to a song of Elvis's. We've all kind of gone through all of the songs that he has sung. So I think that's why we love him, and he did it so well. And then,
did he sing privately to you?
And he sang privately to me in moments, especially when we were upstairs. He'd play the piano, and he'd come out, and he'd sing a song that that he was very drawn to, and a lot of those are and Christmas songs he would sing. White Christmas. He would get in a mood, especially around that time, and he'd sit at the piano, and I could not sing. Obviously, I'd listen, but someone asked me, did I ever sing songs with Elvis? I tried once or twice, that's about it. I did good at humming. I hummed well. I didn't make it to sing the Sweet Inspirations, but
Either one of us did.
couldn't be that good.
Songs. Did he ask you when he was choosing songs for albums or for concerts? Did he talk to you in advance?
About choosing songs?
About choosing them, which one he should sing or which one he should sing?
Elvis could pick a song out, and the first notes of the song, he could tell whether it was going to be good or not. He had an ear. I mean, I was with him many times when he would hear songs and then throw them against the wall because he would be so upset because he wasn't getting the songs that he wanted. He wasn't getting the songs that other artists were getting. So, he'd ask himself, or he'd yell, why aren't I getting those kind of songs? And so, no, I would never. I made a comment one time, I think I wrote this in my book, the first time that I went to Las Vegas with him in 1962, and he played me his new album, Something for Everyone. And I was listening to it, and I thought, oh, they're really nice. Why don't you sing the rock and roll that you used to sing? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I never saw anyone, you know, I just wanted you to hear the music. I didn't want your comments.
You know, first off, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It crushed me, because it came as such a surprise. I went, my gosh, I didn't mean to hurt him, but it was just so personal. Music was so personal. His choice of music was so personal. So I never said a word. He liked it, I liked it. He didn't like it, I didn't like it.
But going back to your question, very important, one of the most powerful songs Elvis ever recorded, you brought to him.
Oh, yes. I brought to him, this was actually after we had already split, which goes to show you that I did know that what he did like, and I did bring him the trilogy. I was driving down Sunset Boulevard, and I heard this song over the air, and I went, oh my God, this sounds like something he would sing, because it was about his country, about what he felt about the South, what he felt about God, and this is his song. So I brought it to him. My sister and I actually went over to the house, and I said, I found something I think you really, really like. And he played it, and he just gave me a wink, and he said, I'm going to do this song. And he listened to it 2 or 3 times, and the next thing you know, he sang it. And it is just an amazing song. Whenever I hear it, that's all. It's just so much a part of him when you think
Absolutely.
it really is.
It's his heart and soul.
Thomas, are there any questions for the time with Elvis?
Oh yes, we have a question here from Julie. She's from Tom Jones' hometown, Pontypridd, and she would like to know, was Elvis a good friend of Tom Jones, and did they hang out a lot?
Yes, they did. With Tom, more than anyone else, actually. And it's when they could get together, they got together, whether it be in Vegas or the time we spent in Hawaii, which they were instantly. Well, Elvis, first of all, admired Tom Jones when he first heard the song Green, Green Grass of Home. He heard it on the radio from George Klein playing it, and Elvis was on his way from LA to Memphis. And every stop he would call George, because then we didn't have cell phones. He'd stop at a gas station and he would tell George, play that song again. Play that song, Green, Green Grass of Home. He just thought his voice was unbelievable. The song told a story that was unbelievable. And from that day on, they became friends, because Elvis went up to him and told him, you know, boy, you sang a song that knocked me off my feet. He loved Tom's songs too. Delilah, Green, Green Grass of Home. What is a couple of other Toms? Well, you know they are. You know what they are, but
He just loved his voice.
yeah, he loved his voice. So they became mutual admirers of each other, and we hung out in Hawaii, and they were like 2 young boys. At the end of the day, they'd get in the living room and Elvis would take his guitar and they'd sing. So can you imagine 2 of them singing together? I mean, it was just brilliant.
And Tom's still doing Elvis songs.
And Tom is still, yes, we're friends of his, and he's still such a night. I'm not such a night, but what's the one that he just sang that he always sings? One Night with You.
One Night with You.
One Night with You. Yeah, he sings a good One Night with You, but not like Elvis.
Right.
Here's another one. This one is from Stuart from Glasgow in Scotland, and he asks, if Elvis was alive today, what would he be doing professionally? What kind of songs probably would he do today?
You know, this is my own personal opinion. Obviously, I mean, he loved gospel music. And that's what he rehearsed to. I mean, he would warm his voice up before he'd go on stage to gospel. He'd end his day sometimes playing gospel. He'd go in the piano at Graceland in the music room. He'd be sitting there alone playing gospel. I just feel that that's really where he would probably end up singing gospel music. He loved it that much to where he loved quartets, and he loved singing with quartets. He wasn't getting the movies that he wanted. If he had gotten the movies that he would like, or the roles offered to him that he would like, it could have gone in that direction too. But I just have this feeling. He loved preaching, and the gospel is a way of preaching. So I don't know. I just feel that's my own opinion. What do you think?
You know, I agree. I was just thinking, Ronnie Tutt in the show does a little intro where he says the same thing. He thinks that Elvis would be doing gospel tours, and I could see that, and that was his love. But I also think he would always be doing his. He has so many fans, rock and roll. I think he would be branched out. And didn't you think too, though, that he had the capability, if he had gotten the right support, to have his own production company? He was trying to do that in '75 and '76.
For movies?
For movies, yes.
Yeah, for movies. Because then he could do his own things. I just don't feel he could ever. He had such a backlash of what he wanted to do with the people that he was surrounded with. It just never happened. But I'll never forget, he told me that he didn't really know what he wanted to do at 40 as he was getting older. You have to remember, 40 at that time you were up there, which is, it's hard to believe, right? I mean,
Mick Jagger said he didn't want to be doing rock and roll at 40.
Well, Elvis said he didn't want to be on stage doing rock and roll at 40. So that's when you think of him dying at 42, he was so young. I mean, so young, and so that's why I think, when he said that, I can't be doing rock and roll at 40 years old. So that's why I'm thinking you go back to his roots.
I have a very personal question that comes also from one of our fans on the ship. Did you ever find the wedding ring that you had lost on the Circle G range?
Horseback riding, yes. Yeah, his ring was loose on him anyway, and we were racing actually on the Circle G, and we were all racing, and he was, had his hand up in the air, and he lost the ring, slipped off his finger, but I did give him another one. He was going to get away with losing his ring.
So you got one anyway?
Yes.
Let's talk a little about today. Lisa Marie, she's living now near London, I guess?
Lisa lives in London and LA and in Hawaii.
And do you see her often nowadays?
Oh, yes. In fact, I just came off of her tour with her. I don't know if any of you saw my Facebook. I did Twittering it with her on stage with the babies. She brings the children with her everywhere. Yes, in fact, I'm missing the baby's birthday, actually today. 5 years old, and they're adorable, absolutely adorable. I think they're smarter than all of us together. I mean, they know how to do the iPad, the iPod, the mini pad. Their little hands just go, and I'm looking at them going, I can't even stand next to them and have mine because they're way ahead of me.
Did you call them today?
Pardon me?
Did you call them today?
I will. It's still morning, so I'll call them when we finish, yes.
But Lisa is also doing her own music career at the moment.
Yes.
Isn't it hard for her to walk in Elvis steps and try to be different to him? What do you think about her music career?
Her music career, I think she's an amazing artist on her own right. She is a great songwriter, and her voice is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her mother. She's always written, even when she was a little girl, she would write. So, and it's difficult. I mean, she's got, my big fear when I knew that she wanted to sing was, boy, you've got big shoes to follow. And And for any child that has a celebrity such as, Elvis, it's hard for a child to come in and not be fearful and not be, have to work really, really hard and not be criticized. And that, as a mom, worried me a lot. But in her own right, she's done very, very well. And I have to admire her for that too. She wants to be known for her own songs and find out who she is, and should have that every opportunity. And I think she has done that. I think she is. This is her third album that she has, and we're all very, very proud of it. Beautiful with T-Bone Burnett was producing. So and she's touring now. So I think she's come a long way, and I have to say, done it well. Done it very well. Is to find her own rights and her own self, and he'd support her 100%.
Thomas, it's a question from the audience.
Yes, there is. Let me check one here. Oh yes, we're talking about music of today. There is a question from Richard from France, and he asks, what kind of music are you listening today, and what do you think of the new generation of musicians?
What I'm listening to today, it's hard, I have to say. It's difficult. Not that I don't like a lot of the songs I do. I actually like that Robin Williams song. Robbie Thicke song. I thought it was quite clever. I like some of the music. I feel that the music that we all grew up with, starting with Elvis obviously, was a whole wonderful generation of music that is timeless. It just is timeless. I mean, and you find a lot of artists singing, those songs today. Today I feel that an artist can do an album and then that's it. They're gone. I don't know if it's because bands are fickle and don't stay with the artist that they like through that album. It's like movies, you used to have, you were a fan of a certain actor and you followed him throughout. So I just feel that it's not bad music, but the artist comes and goes. You don't have someone that really, that really can continue what they were famous for on that first record or first album. So I find that a little disturbing because you do want to follow someone and they keep putting out good music, but the music industry has just changed so much. So I tend to stick to a lot of the great artists like the Rolling Stones and Billy Joel, Robert Plant, my friend, there's so many of them. Linda Ronstadt. So I don't know.
Some of the names you mentioned now bring me to another topic. We had 2 days ago, we talked a little about new projects coming up, and you told me about a book with quotes.
Yes. Well, here's I had a photographer who had taken some pictures of me for a magazine, and we became very good friends. And he said, I have an idea I'd like to run by you. So he says, it's an idea about a book. And it's about different artists wearing Elvis's sunglasses. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm liking this. And he said, it would just be certain artists, and the book would be black and white, and they would have a quote that they said about Elvis. Something, whether it be a poem, whether it be a thought, whether it be just something, how they were influenced by Elvis. I said, oh my gosh, I love this. That's a great project. So I got the archives to give you the original sunglasses of Elvis that he wore all the time. And we have an amazing cast of artists from Willie Nelson to Robert Plant to Billy Joel, who will be joining us, to my God, help me,
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones, yes. And Steven Tyler, to David Copperfield, to Charlie Sheen, to his father. I mean, it goes on. Everyone who wanted to jump on board. And I was amazed at how many people, not just singers, but actors, a magician, television, movies, plays, but people significance that changed somehow our culture. So these are the people. I had Jose Feliciano call me and said, can I be in that book? And I said, my God, yes, for the Latino generation culture. It shows the influence that he had. Jerry Lee Lewis we're getting, B.B. King. Snoop Dogg did it. So please, this is going to be an amazing book, and it's coming out next year. And you will not be disappointed. These photographs are gorgeous, the quotes are unbelievable, and it just shows you the strength that he still has today, and being and influencing our generation now.
You also told me a name 2 days ago, very serious, noble politician.
Yes.
Would you like to tell the story?
Okay. And let's just hope that he stays
It's not through yet, but...
Pardon me?
It's not through yet. It's not
It's not, we're still going through it. I'm telling you a secret. So anyway, I wrote a letter to Bill Clinton, and I told him about the project, and I said told him all who was involved, that he'd be in great company, and that I would really love if he would do it, and that he would be the only politician. Now, mind you, this is not about being a Democratic, this is not about anything politics, it's just that he's a huge admirer of Elvis Presley. So I said, could we have the honor of having you grace our book? So I get a response, and he said, well, yeah, I really like the idea. He says, but, I don't know if I can do the sunglasses. I don't know if that's very presidential, but I will wear my blue suede shoes that I got in Memphis. So I went, oh my God, this would be great. So I went to Christopher, the photographer. So I said, I think he's going to do it. And he said, great. So we came up with the idea that the shoes would be blue and the rest is black and white. So I think it would be quite creative, and it'll be something if we get him into the book and if it all works out. So keep our fingers crossed. So anyway, I thought that was quite, I never thought he'd get back saying yes, but we're working with his people now.
Thomas, you have a question?
Yes. We have so many questions that are related to the past, so please forgive me if it's not the right topic right now. But there is a question from Esther from Germany, and this was actually the very first questions that I've written down. And she would like to ask, can you tell us about the importance of Dea Mater for both of you?
Yes, Diamata. Yes, she was the head of the Self-Realization Fellowship that Elvis loved so much. And we would go up there, again, when he wanted solace, or he wanted to just be alone, or he wanted to think, and he wanted to meet with her because she had such words of wisdom. And he just, we've talked about this before, whether it was the mother figure in her, that she looks very similar to his mom. And he would go up and spend hours with her, and he would come back just so relaxed and refreshed. And I think she was the only woman that he really felt comfortable with and trusted. I mean, that was a big thing for Elvis, is that he had to trust you. And in fact, I've gotten letters from Diamata. She has since passed. She passed about 2 years ago, around 2 years ago. And she's sent me letters about the conversations that they had, and it was touching. I sometimes went and sometimes didn't. I felt that he needed that time just to converse and get what he could from her to with her words. So it was very important for him, and that relationship was a very important relationship in his life.
I want to get back to current projects now. There are so many rumors about a new movie, being plans about Elvis. And for myself, I would love to have a movie like Walk the Line about Johnny Cash, something like this about Elvis. Is there something you could tell us today about the project?
Yes, there is a project that Jerry and I both know very well, and I think many of you know the book very well, which is The Last Train to Memphis. Has anyone here read that book? Yes? And what did you think? good, right? I think it's probably one of the finest books ever written, not only about Elvis, but the time, the period, the feel of what was going on during that era. And Peter Gorelnik is a magnificent writer. Not so much the second book, but this first book, he got it down. And I think Jerry will agree with me.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and Steve Bing is producing it. And it should be out, well, they start production May of next year. And are you going to be involved with that?
Yes.
Jerry's going to be involved with that?
You know, we were all involved so long, 18 years ago.
Yes.
And then it went away, and Priscilla just mentioned Steve Bean, who really gets music, and he's really pushed it through. And it's going to happen. You have a great director,
Yeah.
Kevin MacDonald, who did The Last King of Scotland, that Forrest Whitaker got the Academy Award. So it's going to be a real first-class production.
Yeah. We've always wanted this book done. We worked on this for, like you said, 18 years. So it's just been with, first was with Bill Mechanic. Were you with Bill Mechanic? And
Steve Tisch.
And Steve Tisch, two wonderful producers, and it fell through. So now we're finally getting it done with Steve Bing, and I think he'll be doing it the right way because he's consulting, and it should be amazing. And after this movie, you're not going to see, I don't think, books of. We have 800 and some odd books out on Elvis. Let me tell you, it's unbelievable. Most of them you can trash. In fact, almost all of them you can trash, except my book and Jerry's book. And Peter's.
It's going to be better than Walk the Line, Christoph. You're going to be
You'll be
I'm
happy.
looking forward. Priscilla, also rumors now around that you possibly could join the new season of Dallas. What's behind that?
Well, I actually, while I was in London November and December, and Larry Hagman passed away, and I couldn't attend his funeral actually, but in the new Dallas series, has anyone watched the new Dallas series at all? Isn't it good? Yeah. Oh my gosh! When they first told me about they were going to do, a new generation of Dallas, I went, oh, you have to be kidding! I hate that. It's like seeing Gone with the Wind and trying to recapture what was once so great. So, our good friend Tom Moran brought the series, the first show to us, and I was blown away. We sat in it and watched it twice. We couldn't believe it. I mean, they really got it right? The kids are great in it, and the storyline is wonderful. When Larry passed away, they had actually, in the script, because he passes as JR, asked me if I would be a part of the funeral. That was going to be the introduction of me coming in to the show. But unfortunately I couldn't make it. But this season, they have asked what my availability is, because they're starting to film in October, which was last month. I think it was last month. Was that last month? I'm so confused on where I am right now.
She thinks in the future.
Do what?
You're thinking the future.
Future, exactly. So anyway, yes, it looks like they're easing me in, and we'll see what happens. I need all of you to help me once I get on. I stay, because it's such a great show. I really like it.
Thomas, any more questions?
Oh yes, there are plenty more questions. Here is one. This is a rather specific question. It's a question from Jari from Finland. And the question is, what are your memories about the movie Ford Fairlane and the director of the movie, a Finnish guy called Rennie Harlin?
Gosh, did you have to mention that movie? That was not one of my favorite movies. Andrew Dice Clay is wonderful. He's become a wonderful friend, and he was very popular back then. A lot of women did not like him. So this is in America. So I did the show, not really thinking. It was more like a fun thing to do with him. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything special. Rennie, I don't know that well. I thought the movie could have been much, much better. So that's it on that. It's not one of my favorite things.
No problem. Let's do the next question. Billy from England, he would like to know, what are your memories of the idea of the TCB lightning bolt?
TCB lightning.
Well, my memories, my gosh, my memory is very vivid of us flying on a plane, and Elvis, every time Elvis did a movie, at the end of the movie, it was a tradition that you give gifts to the crew, and I would help him get those, like the bracelets that were the initial bracelets I got, and I would get the women necklaces, watches. So he wanted to do something different, but he wanted it much more personal, not for everybody. So we were flying from LA to Memphis, and there was a lightning storm, and lightning bolt shot across the sky. And he said, "That's what I want." And I said, "Well, like for what?" He goes, "I want taking care of business, and I want a lightning bolt." So I started drawing it, and I said like this, and I put the TC and I put the lightning bolt. He goes, "That's exactly what I want. I want this as a necklace for our own group." And then we did the TCB, and then the women got jealous because, they wanted to not just take care of business, there was more to it than taking care of business. So that's where the TLC, tender loving care, came for the women. So the women liked wearing that much more than taking care of business. So that was, now everyone in the world has it, so we're all part of the pack. Isn't it? There's nothing else like it. Yeah, it is timeless, so everyone takes care of business.
I never will forget the night we were in Montebello, and he wanted to have a maid, and he called me on the intercom to come to you guys' room. So it's like 12 o'clock at night, and I go, and he shows me the sketch that Priscilla made. And he goes, "What do you think?" And he was so excited. I said, "Man, it's great. What is it?" He goes, "It's a TCB." And I go, "Oh, what's a TCB?"
So we went to Schwartz and Lieber.
Schwartz and Elvis.
Yeah.
And we made it. We had to wake up the jeweler at home to meet us at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he wanted to show him the sketch and get him working on it right away.
Thomas.
Okay, we can go on with the next question. And this comes from Rudy from Austria. And he said to me, who can tell better than you, was Elvis really even more handsome in reality in comparison to the many, many photos and videos that exist?
Yes, he was. Believe it or not, I have never to this day seen anyone more handsome, who had more charisma. When he walked into a room, everything stopped. It was just, you can't even compare it to anyone. But he was gorgeous. Perfect face, perfect features, the right height. He was drop dead gorgeous, yes, I have to say. Kind of hard to date now.
Unfortunately, time runs by, so I have a few final questions. Do you still remember your last meeting with Elvis? Where it was and how was it? And what words did you speak? The conversation you had, the last conversation you had with Elvis, do you still remember it?
I do, yes, very much so. The last time I saw him was, a couple of months before he went out on tour. And I was in Memphis at the time visiting. And he didn't really look healthy. He was a bit bloated. And I kept thinking, he's getting ready to go on tour. He really needs to lose a little bit of weight. And I didn't want to, I would never tell him that, believe me. I'll see something going across the room. Probably me. Anyway, but I did think that. But the one thing with Elvis was that if he was sick, or if he didn't feel well, or sometimes he would just check himself into the hospital because he wanted to get away from everybody. He'd have the nurses put tin foil on the windows because he didn't want to see out the window. He just wanted to go relax and just get away from the house, get away from people. And that was. I mean, I could understand that. The house was always filled with people, but he always would come out of it. He would always, feel better, even if he got sick. He just had this sense that Elvis would be okay. Elvis would be fine. He'd get sick and he'd come right through. He'd have a horrible cold, and a few days later he said, "I'll be okay." And he came out of it. You just always felt that he was going to be around. And so this particular time, I just said, well, he'll lose weight. He'll be better. He wasn't going through a very good time at that time. So then, 2 days before Elvis passed, I called him up and wanted to know, how he was doing. Lisa was there at the time, and how was she doing? He told me he was getting ready for the tour. He was really excited about going on the tour, and he was up, but not really enthusiastic. Just kind of going through the motions. But that wasn't strange either, because he'd have his ups and downs with even going out doing movies, or if he didn't have his, a particular place that he didn't feel that the audience was that good. He'd snap himself out of it. So I remember that conversation going, gosh, just something, I don't know, just the energy wasn't there that I felt. But I do remember it so well because it was on my mind while he was in Memphis. Gosh, I just wish he would be happier. I wish that I could feel, what I know that he could feel. And then I get a call 2 days later, and that was it.
Priscilla, I think each of us want to thank you for all the work you did in the last years, for opening Graceland to the public,